Lolly Marcil is way too adorable. Way too adorable. Yes, Dungeon Meshi episode 19, absolutely fantastic episode. Back when I covered episode 17, which is easily the best episode of the series so far, one of the things that I loved so much about that episode was showing how everybody else perceived differently what Marcil did. Marcil has sort of a confidence in what she was doing. She's like, it's ancient magic, it's pulling energy from another dimension. It's not what you think it is. And everybody else is like, no, it's black magic, it's dangerous, and you caused this. Now, back then in episode 17, it was sort of giving us a little bit of a hint of Marcil believing what they were saying. I caused this. And I do like the fact that episode 19 really does highlight, nope, she's conflicted about this. She is tormented by this idea that she is the one that caused this. Now, it was interesting because it sort of tried to twist it into something else at some point in her dream, but it did full circle. It kind of came back to the idea of, no, this is a fear of death. And yes, there is still seemingly some sort of signs of her feeling like she caused something. And that's what I like about it. It shows that she's confident, but she still has her fears. But yes, let's just jump into the episode proper. Again, opening up with Esabi. She shows up and says, hey, I've been trailing you guys because somebody with black magic caused me to be a cat girl. Somebody turned me into a cat girl, which I would argue, what's wrong with that? But no, this is a curse that was placed upon them, and they don't like it, and they're like, hey, Marcil, you did this to Fallen, so obviously you know how to undo this. Undo it, or I'm going to kill you. Now, obviously, the whole situation kind of gets calmed down a little bit using food. Senshi getting mad because of how they were holding their utensils and dropping the food on the floor, being picky, all that stuff. Obviously, it's going to make Shinji mad. Don't waste your food. How dare you? Everybody's talking about how picky they are and how they don't, treat their food properly, all that stuff. It kind of calms down the moods a little bit here. But again, yes, at some point, again, we find out later as Izutsumi. Izu basically at some point points out that, yes, again, you use black magic. I want you to use that on me to undo this. Now, Marcil's clarifying that, no, I can't really do that. Wait, let me look at it. No, this isn't something that I can't do. She's pointing out, again, ancient magic is this other thing, and what you think is black magic, that's not what I'm doing. But, again, pointing out and clarifying the perception of what souls are in this world. They don't know much about it, but the idea is that souls are within this eggshell, which is our bodies. And the dungeon is a special thing in the idea that it kind of keeps the soul in there so that you could be revived. But the problem with both Izu and, of course, Fallen is the idea that, yeah, you're now two souls, two eggs within one shell. And I can't really just separate that. But I really love this little moment here because it's like it turns this sadness into sort of a positive in the idea of like, so you can't do anything for me. But Laios is happy. Thank you so much I'm so glad I met you. This is a good thing. Because you actually have kept your humanity. You haven't become bestial. You're not after blood, which proves to me that you are two souls within one body, and you're able to keep that. So it's hope that Fallen could be the same case. Which, yeah, we've already kind of got indications of that. Like I was mentioning in my coverage of episode 17, it seemed like over and over again they had these points in which it was like shifting back and forth. She was at some points looking like Fallen. But other moments, they were bloodthirsty. They were the beast. And so that was kind of a sign that there's like these two halves that are kind of fighting over the body. And again, with Izu here, we're getting proof that they can actually overcome that. Or at least with their case, it was never a problem. They didn't really indicate that Izu had a problem at some point keeping their humanity and maybe they overcame it. But yeah, obviously the meat and potatoes of the episodes is a later part of it where we have Marcil get stuck in a nightmare. Now we see Laios is stuck in it for the moment. We get a brief idea that it seems like his fears is how everybody else around him, family and everybody, believes that he's a failure. They all believe that he's a failure. And it wasn't until Toshiro shows up and is like, oh, yeah, wait, no, I thought we overcame that whole thing. Why? Oh, this is a dream. We got over that. You can't be yelling at me still. Oh, this is a dream. But then yes, realizing that Marcil's stuck in it, it apparently makes you like stressful to the point where it starts to feed off of you until you die. So he has to do what seemingly Fallen has done before with Toshiro and hop into her dreams. Now here's a cool part, like I said, because he goes into an area that is essentially a library, which as he kind of points out later on, this is incredible. Laios's inner dreams and his inner thoughts was this blank area. showing kind of this emptiness. Like, I'm dumb. It's almost like he's pointing out that I'm kind of dumb, or I'm simple-minded, that I don't have anything in there. But with Marcil, it's full of knowledge. Like, everything around her is nothing but knowledge. We also get several indications in there as well, like portraits of people that she, adores, which is one case we see Fallen at some point on a portrait. Additionally, seems like she's holding a doll that I think is Fallen. I'm pretty sure it was Fallen. So she's always carrying Fallen around with her, kind of showing either an attachment to her, or at least, in a lot of cases with dolls in a situation like this, it's sort of a comfort, something that keeps you and gives you courage. So that's something that Fallen has given her courage or comfort that she always wants to keep around. But additionally, as over time, we get sort of a little bit of a telling that Marcil, it seems like because of the loss of her father, Papa and Pee-Pee. And Papa, obviously, is Papa. She lost her dad at some point. But additionally, Pee-Pee, which she says is a bird. I was, for a while there, thinking it was going to be mom and dad. Like, they called mama, dad is Papa and mama is Pee-Pee. I don't know. But yeah, it ends up being a bird. It makes sense, Pee-Pee. It's a bird name. So yeah, apparently she lost those two. And that's seemingly what encouraged her to get into seeking knowledge. She was afraid of losing people. She lost her father, lost her bird, and so she started this seems to be the tipping point for her learning ancient magic. She wanted to learn ancient magic so she can undo things. Her ultimate fear in the end is losing people, because she's an elf. I think Mom even points out this idea of, like, you're always running, so you leave a lot of people behind. You're essentially being an elf, presumably, in this world is going to be the same in other worlds. She's going to outlive everybody. And so she has a fear of death. And so how she undoes that is by learning how she can possibly save lives and bring them back or whatever. So that seems to be the kind of thing there. And I think that's kind of echoed in the idea that, yes, when the monster touches Laios, he starts to grow old. The thing that is chasing them, whatever it touches, poisons and makes them old and decay and die away. Aging. So Laios is aging to death. All that is pretty much showing that. Now, the oddity here is early on, when the thing first showed up, I was thinking immediately, okay, it's something that's deformed. So her internal fear is going to be something that deforms, again, Fallen. Her internal fear is, I broke something. That used to be Fallen, and now look at her. Everything I touch turns decrepit, turns deformed. And again, I thought it was really going to get into the idea of her sort of insecurities around what she did, which would be counter to what she believes, that I understood what I used, and what I used caused this, but now everybody else is saying that I caused this other thing, which seemingly is true, because all signs point to the idea that because she used the flesh of the dragon and everything, it pulled that egg, because again, there's a dragon, and it's a shell, and it's got a soul in it, and then you had Fallen, and then it was a shell that was cracked open all over the place, and she put those two things together, in which pretty much merged two souls. So there is a thought here that she did, in the end, cause this problem. She did deform Fallen. But she fully understood what she was doing, and is hoping that she can sort of undo it. But this would kind of show that idea that I made a chimera, and now this chimera is chasing me. But again, it does seem like Laios points out two things here. One is this is a fear of death. What's chasing us is death. And again, when it touches him, it makes him start to decay and die. So it could be either one. But I was more hoping this was probably going to be more of towards the realm of fearing something that she's deformed. I messed that up. I can never undo it. But then, yeah, I think it kind of works both ways in the end. But yeah, in the end, he helps her get that bravery. It was cool because, yeah, it does show that she desires that book so much. There's some ancient book this sorcerer has, and they badly want it, because if they have it, they can fix things. If only I had that, I can fix things. And sure enough, she wishes for it and takes it out and bonks it. He's like, what the heck? Is that how it's used? No, I think for a kid, in a kid's mind, that being the thing they need, all it's necessary is all you need to do is just bonk the thing, and it fixes the situation. But it was really cool. I think, again, all the symbolisms that was in that dream world, and that insecurity she has, that fear, I could never undo it. I've never been able to do it. I'm not strong enough. It takes everything. I wish I had the knowledge. The knowledge is all around me, but none of it. That's also another thing. All this knowledge around me, and I couldn't figure it out. And it's all still there, so it's not as if she'd forgotten it. It's all there, and none of it worked. So it's kind of that tragic aspect there. That's the thing that she's always been seeking, but seemingly never, ever accomplished. So really, really cool little segment there, and kind of wraps it up. But yeah, really, really good episode. I got a kick on the fact that when Izu first showed that they were a cat girl, and then suddenly the tail just flops on Marcille's face, I'm like, oh, please don't tell me they're suggesting what they're suggesting. It's so wrong. It's like these little undertones that the writers can kind of throw in there that are a little bit inappropriate, but it was still cute. I like the whole segment. So yeah, it looks like Izu's joining them. So it'll be interesting what kind of chemistry they add to the whole picture. It seems like a lot of their chemistry is going to be just kind of smart mouth, a little bit immature, a little bit primal. That's kind of add a little mixture to the party itself. So we'll see. We'll see if they stick around, because whenever they kind of add another party member, they quickly disappear after a little bit. So anyhow, that's my thoughts on episode 19. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure that like button down below, comment, let me know what's thought of the episode. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button to get my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you like this content and you want to support the channel more, I have Patreon link, tips, links, super thanks, membership button down below. Greatly appreciate everybody does. And y'all take care.